broadcasting live out of a basement in Appleton, Wisconsin. You're tuned into Fox Cities Core on WCZR Code Zero Radio. We're the show that gives you an opportunity to call in and be a part of the show. Our call-in line is 920-358-0795. Core. We have the pleasure of speaking with Paige McKenna. She is the producer, director, and editor behind the upcoming documentary Gold. The film explores the lives of women working at the Gold Nugget strip club in Spread Eagle, explores themes of independence, self-respect, and confidence. We're also joined by 3 stars of the show. I'd like to welcome you to Fox Cities Core. How are you doing today?
Great. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you.
This is what is kind of the start of what's going to be a busy time for all of you. How does it feel to be at this point in the process?
Oh, it feels surreal, I think, still, for me at least, and probably for all of us. We just said before the show started, like, this is kind of the last calm before the storm. Like, we're about to kind of be in a whirlwind of excitement and stress, but all good stuff.
Right.
So for the viewers, can you tell me what the documentary in a nutshell is about?
Yeah. So the Gold Nugget is a strip club in Spread Eagle, Wisconsin. It's run by a woman who was a dancer in the 90s. And she runs the place in a way where she really uplifts and empowers women to kind of better themselves and, be sober, go get an education. She's really really the mother of a lot of the girls. And especially, some of the girls that really need some direction and mothering to happen in their lives. She's really kind of the foundation for that. So it's really a special place. It's not like any other strip club.
And this isn't your first film. This is your second film. The first one was called Seeds of Life. Mm-hmm. And the topics are very different. Being your second film taking on this topic, what made you decide to take on such a big topic?
Well, that's a great question. So Allison, she had come to my show, my showing of Seeds of Life a couple of years ago, and she went with her husband, and they saw the film, and they approached me afterwards, and Aubry as well. She's been involved since the beginning, and they, said, we have this story for you, and, there are definitely themes of empowerment for women with my first film, and so it's a different type of empowerment for the second film, but it definitely spoke to me, and I thought, well, this is a story I can't not tell. So I had never been into a strip club before the film and research, and I was super uncomfortable the first couple times I went into the club, but now I feel like it's my home.
And we've got 3 stars of the film here. Let's go down and if you could introduce yourselves.
Okay, I am Sylvia. I'm just the naked girl in the film, really. That's my main job, just to be naked and talk. Yeah, so, and I met Paige through the film. It was lovely meeting her. Now I think we're besties. We're going to matching tattoos pretty soon, aren't we? Yeah. So, tramp stamps, am I right?
Yeah.
Perfect. So, yeah, I'm just one of the naked girls.
I'm Allison. That's my dancer name is Allison. And for me, this was a kind of a break from my normal professional world as a researcher, but kind of strangely enough, I feel at this point, like the worlds have collided, and I really did learn a lot from the experience of working as a dancer as well. So this is going to be the next chapter for me, kind of integrating those two.
Yeah. Right. My name is Aubry. I am also naked in the film. And I helped co-produce the film as well. I had, very close relationships with all of the girls because I had worked at the Nugget. And so it's just very exciting to see this come, to fruition. It definitely seems surreal at this time. So I had never danced before. I started dancing at the age of 40. So I come from like corporate America and owning my own business, so with Allison. So yeah, it's been quite the ride actually. Oh.
When you were first approached to be in this film, did it take a little convincing for you to say yes?
I was the one that had to do the convincing with the girls. I have a very close relationship with them. And Allison and I, we had, talked about with Paige. And so, I knew what was going to be happening. But it was me that had to hold a lot of hands and, tell everyone that, it was going to be okay. So I know we didn't let them down. So.
It was somewhat of a hard decision for me to include like my own story, and I think that it really I had to face family members that I knew would not be at all happy about this, and wonder what will happen professionally, what the blowback could be from that. But I don't really think that there's anything that anybody could do to convince me that it wasn't this really super meaningful experience, and something that I feel has now we've all come to this place together because of our journeys though. So I think we're ready for anything.
Yeah.
It must have made you all closer as well. Having somebody you don't really know that well come in and all of a sudden say they're going to tell your story, you kind of have to worry about how they're going to tell it. Mm-hmm. Were you comfortable with Paige right away?
I was nervous.
Yeah.
I was very nervous because I didn't meet Paige at all. And as a dancer, I danced with you more. I did dance with you once or twice, but I danced with you more, Aubry, with, but I didn't talk to anybody very much. I was very disconnected from all the other girls. I would go off and do my own thing. I would sleep in the trunk of my car.
We're not getting into that right now.
But I wasn't close with any of the girls. So then once they were okay, now we're going to do we're going to get together as a team. And I was wait a minute. I don't even go to lunch with you guys. Why would I work with you guys on this? But I was very trusting, and I trusted you, and you did an amazing job filming, and an amazing job voicing our voices. So she really did give us a microphone, which is awesome.
Did anybody agree to do this and then back out after filming started?
There were a couple women who we have their sound bites in the film, but they didn't want to be on camera. So out of respect for their own family dynamics and things, so their voices are still in the film, but their faces are not. So, but you guys didn't leave me hanging. Everyone who signed up was able to deliver. So I will say, probably the most difficult relationship building that happened was with Dusty, because she. I remember we went to lunch for the first time with her, and she wouldn't look at me. She just was not even and understandably, my coming into this whole project was, I want to expose, but in the correct, respectful way. I want to, the world to see, your stories. And that's really, that's kind of what I've just been going off of from the beginning. So.
And Dusty was the owner of the club?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
How did you settle on a club way up there near the border?
Again, it just all kind of fell into my lap. From Allison, really kind of putting the idea in my head, and then Aubry helping facilitate everything. It really just, it was a team effort for sure. Yeah. And I did some research at other clubs, kind of more in this area, in the area, and the Nugget is definitely a special exception to a lot of clubs that I've been to, and it definitely feels like there is a family environment there, and you feel protected and you feel safe there, compared to other clubs that I had gone to. So, I could make a series basically on all the clubs in Wisconsin alone, because every club is different, every woman is different. There's everyone has a story. So,
how did this one differ from Seeds of Life? For that one, you were hauling equipment overseas. This one, you had not only knowledge, but as far as the equipment, did you use the same process that you used on the first film?
No. So thankfully, I'm working on like on my personal Facebook page, like crew acknowledgement, because I could not have done this film would be nothing without my crew and without the talents that people have volunteered to give me. Like, I'm gonna get choked up just thinking about it because it's so overwhelming. Like, with my first film, I had to basically beg people to go overseas with me, and I had a crew of it was 2 guys and myself, but the guys kind of took turns. Like, they were out there for a week and then they flew home, and then the next one came out. So it was like I had a very, very tiny crew for that. And then this one, people just kind of rallied around me, and like my bosses at my day job let me use all their equipment. They came and they helped and they filmed, and it was like I do remember like all the shooting days just having this like overwhelming feeling of like people are like trusting me and kind of like depending on me to make this beautiful, and like we're all doing it. Like it was a really cool like validation and confidence boost to have like the really cool like production equipment. Like this production is like elevated to the maximum from my first film, because we just had to drive up 2 hours, and it's in English. My first one was not in English, so that was difficult too. But
Well, you're wearing a lot of hats. You're producer, editor, director. So as far as editing goes, you're doing all these things, knowing that you're eventually going to have to go and edit this and piece it together. Did your process for editing change between the 2 films?
yes. Yeah, for my first film, I was new to editing, I would say. I never dreamed of being an editor because I like to move around and I don't like to sit at a computer. So the first film, I wasn't thinking as an editor, and I also wasn't doing the interviews for my first film because I couldn't speak the language. So I would write interview questions and have them translated a couple of times, and then I would had to edit things together based on a language that I wasn't familiar with. So that was really tough. But this one, it was a lot easier to kind of facilitate the story and get everything together, because when I was interviewing in my head, I was saying, well, this is going to be in the film, or this isn't going to make the cut, or, so it made, my first film made me a better, I would say, director and editor too, because now I had the experience to really think things through better.
Did you run into any problems where all of a sudden something you thought you had saved all of a sudden wasn't recorded properly or got
Thank
deleted?
God, no. I mean, I still have nightmares. I definitely, because this was a shoestring budget, I have a GoFundMe and that's basically it. So I remember dropping $250 on a hard drive, and I was like, oh my God, that's so much money. And this little piece of whatever it is, technology. And then I remember thinking, okay, I've got all my stuff together. This is going to be good. It's going to be great. And then my buddy, Alex, who's been he's a crew member of mine from the beginning. And he was like, do you have this backed up anywhere? And I'm like, no. So then I had to drop another $250 on another stupid hard drive. But I'm like, well, this is filmmaking. And so that was probably the biggest wake up call is it's a very expensive craft. And I kind of wish they would have told me that in film school, but nobody told me that. I was going to lose money and not make money.
In film school, did you get any guidance as far as how to talk during an interview to gently get a story out of somebody, or is that something you had to learn on the fly? Yeah,
that is something I learned. So I went into film school to do narrative films. So we wrote scripts and I took acting classes and things because I went to school in California, so that was more of that whole, you got to get somewhere and you got to, be a part of a crew out here and things. And I think people are the most interesting thing in the world. So I was like, well, I think documentary filmmaking would be pretty cool. And then actually I had a boss at one of my previous jobs who worked for the news, and he was a really amazing interviewer. So I learned a lot from him. And then just, the confidence kind of came along with it. But I've always been a people person, so it's come a little easy for me, I guess.
When you were going into this film, did you have a line of attack as far as how you're going to interview the stars of the film? What was your plan going into it?
Yeah, so I think with every film I do, the reason I do the films are to give people a voice who don't have a voice. And so, definitely empowerment was a key thing, to show humanity and to show, to make people think, I guess, in a different way about dancers in general, because, I had certain stereotypes that I had coming into this project, and I'm not gonna lie, I was scared, and like I didn't know what the club really was and what it all entailed and things, and I had to push through my uncomfortableness to in order to get to where I needed to be to tell the stories. So that like research phase was uncomfortable, but really necessary for me. So I did have. I switched up the opening of the film a little bit because, well, maybe I shouldn't say this. Never mind. I'm not going to say it.
You can't do that. So, did any of you see any of the movie yet?
Yes, we've all seen it.
Yeah.
Oh, you've seen the whole thing?
Yes, yeah.
Any nervousness about how you might be perceived by family and friends when this comes out?
My dad's probably going to ground me, but I haven't lived at home in 25 years, so I'm not too concerned. I mean, he should be pretty cool. And there has been people that have, it's been coming to light, so I've been kind of dealing with that this week. But, honestly, the way that the stories are told, and I kind of knew this from the beginning, it's like if we're going to, create this piece of art and tell these beautiful stories, it's like, just knowing that my personal, like, family and friends that would react to it, it's like how imperative it was to tell it authentically and tell it from the heart. And I think, with what Paige did and the her production crew and everything, the way that they put this together, I mean, I don't think anyone is going to judge us, afterwards. I just don't. So, oh, well, if they do, I guess, at this time. So,
Sylvia
it's too late now.
Sylvia and Allison, I mean, any
It's such a mix for me because there's so many people like that I'm so proud of, even like my husband, like I'm really excited for him to see it, and even his family. But then there's like other people I know that will probably they never will see it, or maybe just aren't really like open to that. But I think that, that's going to be one of the beautiful things that this film does is like really like challenge people's, preconceived thinking about a lot of different things. It isn't really, it's about dancers, but there's a lot of subject matter that relates to things that other people could be dealing with, whether it can become, like domestic violence, substance abuse and recovery, things like those are like little themes that emerge throughout these stories that a lot of people can relate to, and it's a positive story, so people need hope right now.
I got chills.
So why did each of you get into dancing?
She made me. I'm just kidding.
No, I didn't make you.
Well, I guess we can kind of.
I'll start. Because
Don't give too much away, though, because this is in the film.
Right.
Just Andy.
Sorry. Stay tuned.
Yeah, I don't know what to say then. Well, I had an earlier experience dancing when I was younger. When I talk about
Not
that.
naked, though, right?
No, yes, naked. Definitely naked. Definitely naked. And something that I had kind of just like really like almost like buried within myself. And this experience for me was kind of like having to go back and relive this experience maybe a second time with more wisdom to learn from all the other like younger girls. Like that teaches me a lot about my younger self, like going and seeing you guys like and seeing how this world can shape you. And I had left with a lot of negative attached to that, and I believe I can say now like I also left behind all the positive too. And so now I'm kind of leaving this experience reclaiming that for myself. And
I started dancing because I grew up kind of a white trash life, if I'm being honest with you. I grew up a very, very, white trash life is a great way to describe it. And when I was 18, I moved out when I was like about 15. And when I was 18, I was like, working 3 jobs. I was living in a shitty apartment with like 6 other people. And I was thinking, if I'm going to get anywhere in this life, I need to, you know, dig myself out of this hole. And dancing helped me dig my way out of that hole very, very fast, which is nice. And now I'm 20 and I'm able to start looking into college and a whole bunch of different options. And I can spend more time with my mom and my family, which is awesome. And it's given me a more successful life, I feel like.
I'm so proud of you. You can cry again.
Thank you.
So your mom knew about the dancing before the movie?
Yes, she found out the night I was doing it, actually. She
found out the night you were doing the movie?
dancing.
Okay.
Yeah. I was 18. It was like the week of Christmas, actually. And I was on my way down to the Gold Nugget. It was the middle of a snowstorm, and she hit me up. She's called me, and she was like, "Hey, honey, what are you doing today? Do you want to get some dinner or something like that?" And I was like, "Actually, I'm like about 5 minutes away from a strip club." And she was like, she started laughing really hard, and she was like, "Out of all my kids, I knew it was going to be you." So it was no surprise to her, and she supported me throughout the whole thing. She's probably my biggest supporter being a dancer. And actually, back to your previous question was, I just had to like touch on it really quick because I did have like a negative impact, I guess. Is it okay? Like, yeah, okay. So a negative impact, but I think it's kind of a loud one that should be talked about because for the documentary, I have it all over my social media. I'm very proud of what I do, and I had a special partner, and his family found out that I was a dancer through the documentary, and they said it's okay if you're a dancer, and if you needed to do it for some money, they understand that, but they didn't understand the documentary part. But the part they didn't understand was why I'm proud of it. And the documentary is me being proud of being a dancer. So I kind of got dumped over that, but I think it was important, and my mom supporting me and you voicing our opinions on it and showing that I am a proud dancer, I feel like that was really important. I mean, even though it was something negative, I feel like it was really an important thing for her to say that because it kind of shows a lot of people are judging because I'm a proud dancer, but why wouldn't I be proud of it? It's something that's making me successful in life. Yeah. So,
do you feel there's a double standard as far as male dancers, female dancers? You've got movies like Magic Mike, and you've got these things going on at hotels during deer hunting weekend.
Yep. And I feel like a double standard I always thought was men are consuming this. Men are consuming the work I do. Men are consuming many forms of sex work. And somehow that gets passed as an okay thing. Meanwhile, just because I'm a dancer and I'm doing it, I'm getting shamed for it. And I'm making an income on it. I mean,
by the very people that, are participating in paying you. And
Yeah. So, I mean, like, if a man goes to a strip club, it's completely normal. But let's say a teacher was a stripper, she gets fired right away.
Right.
You know,
it's a bigger problem.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there does need to be protections for sex workers, legal sex workers, for discrimination, like in the workplace. I mean, I can give, a ton of examples, but we'll touch on that another day. But it is true. I mean, it's okay if a guy comes in and spends his kids, college fund, but it's not okay if a single mom is feeding her child doing it. So there's double standards everywhere, for everything throughout our society, but this is definitely the most obvious one.
Yeah.
For me, it feels like, because right now, this is where I'm still living in a little bubble, and from right now, while I'm still in the bubble, it just seems weird to be like, why would anybody be throwing it shade at us? Do they not know the customers?
We just stepped out it's just
I
a
know.
real world. We're usually living in a.
Now I'm in the bubble too. Thanks, guys.
But no, I mean, on a serious note, I do think there really is a double standard because none of this would be possible if there weren't people, it raises a lot of questions about our society and the way that men and women are free to express their sexuality. But it's not something that we can ignore, I don't think.
As far as getting funding and people to help, was it hard, considering the topic, to get people to buy into this?
Not as hard as my first film, honestly.
Yeah.
It's been fairly easy for people. And, maybe it's people believe in the subject matter, maybe people believe in the story we're telling, but, it's been more underwhelming than I expected, I guess, the fundraising aspect of it. I mean, we sold out our punk show, that was crazy. And, now we've sold out, and it's important for me to give back too. So the proceeds from the Green Bay showing are all going towards the Golden House, which is a domestic violence shelter in Green Bay. So, it's all for a cause, the greater good. So,
Well, the fundraising shows you've done, Punks at the Parlor, you had some great bands there.
Yeah.
Holly and the Nice Lions, Elmer Glueskin,
Yeah.
Amanda James, and I think a
Stink
bunch
Eyes.
more. It's Stink Eyes. How did those shows go?
oh, it was awesome. I mean, I didn't really have to twist any of their arms to participate. I think they were grateful because it was kind of a girl power night, too, where it's girl punk bands were kind of recognized. So that was really cool. And yeah, that was fun. I want to do that again.
Anything coming up as far as fundraising for the film yet? Is that something that continues, or are you past that point now?
We just had our final fundraiser that was scheduled, and that was successful as well. That was for film festival entries, and so we raised about $2,000, which film festivals are about $100 entry fee per festival, on average. So that will help Gold get shown in a lot of different states and countries, and it's hard to look past in 2 weeks when this will be out, I'd love to do another fundraiser at some point, but we're in we're skidding towards the finish line, it feels like.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that goes into releasing a film. I have no idea. I've never done it, but I mean, there's lots of things that go into it that I think people like me and everybody else doesn't realize you have to do. It's not just shooting and editing and putting out the film. Do you have to do, this is kind of a leading question. I know that there's music licensing, and I know you had somebody that's super talented helping you with this film.
Yes.
You want to drop that name?
I do. So Alex Drossart is a musician in Appleton, and he is incredible. I mean, he approached me and said he would like to be involved, and I was absolutely floored. It was one of those moments where you don't feel like you're good enough for something like that to come into your lap, and it was just wow, and that was, for me, it was really validating too, that what I was creating was good and professional and an interesting story, for a professional like Alex to kind of just be so gung-ho about being involved. It was really cool. So he's done an incredible job, and he was amazing to work with. I mean, we texted all the time and at all hours of the day, and he didn't get upset with me if I didn't text him back for a couple days because I'm a bad texter, but he above and beyond, and I'm just so grateful. And it's so cool to not have to worry about licensing, right? To not have to worry. There's, I think, one song we licensed. And then I did use a Stink Eyes song, spoiler alert, for the credit sequence. But it was really cool to just have someone actually compose music, because I've never had that before. Even in my professional career, I've never had anyone write music to what I've edited together. So that was
So
really
Alex saw the finished product and then wrote the music specifically for what he was seeing. That's awesome.
Yeah, he saw a couple rough cuts and got some ideas going, and then when picture was locked, and he worked so quickly too. It was just it's been a cool partnership for sure.
Alex is in some great bands, such as Hang 10. He plays for Corey Chisel. He was in the Prigs, and on and on and on and on. He's played with Wayne Newton.
Yeah, just Wayne Newton.
When you were looking for places to do the premiere, how did you decide where to do the premiere?
Well, The Meyer, backstage at the Meyer has been great to me in the past. So that's where I showed Seeds of Life, my first film. And it's like fancy enough where you feel like it's kind of a big deal, but there's also like St. Brendan's across the street to go party at afterwards. So yeah, they've been great.
And so is there plans? The two first shows sold out right away, and you added a Chicago date. Is there any plans to add additional shows?
Yes. So there is a plan. We're looking into dates to do another showing at Backstage, and I'm thinking it's going to be January 4th. So I was emailing with them today, and all I have to do is sign my name to book it. So I will do that first thing tomorrow. Megan, sorry, PR. She's like, you can say it as long as it's booked. I'm like, oh, it's basically booked.
They're on the hook now.
Do you all of you plan on going to all the showings, or are you going to pick and choose?
Oh,
I'm going
yes.
to all of them.
All of them,
Yes.
Yeah, maybe not all the film festivals just because of logistics, but definitely the premieres and every fundraiser, everything. It's yeah.
Is there any chance that at the premieres there's going to be a question and answer?
Yes, yeah. So we're gonna have Q&As at the two premieres coming up, and then in Chicago as well. So it'll be all of the dancers and probably Jim, the manager of the club. He'll be involved too. But you know, we're gonna have questions kind of screened beforehand, so we won't be too caught off guard with things. Hopefully.
And so, talk a little bit about Jim. When did you meet Jim?
Oh my gosh. Well, I think I met Jim the first time I was at the Nugget, and he was terrifying. I was like, this guy's really crabby and he's mean. And now, like, honestly, I've told him this, and he feels like a second dad to me. Like, he's one of the only men I've ever felt completely safe with, like, ever in my life. And I told him that, and I think that was probably a important compliment to him. But he really is like an incredible human for sure. Like he's special for sure. So
Yeah.
You just got to get through that thick shell.
oh yeah,
first.
yeah. And still, you know, like the last time, because we shot at the club, I don't know, like 4 or 5 times or something. Like it wasn't super often, but you know, this last time too, he's still kind of wrinkling his nose and rolling his eyes when I ask him, you know, can you turn this light off, or can we move these tables around? And, you know, and then it's just like, then he just buy him pizza and he's fine.
Yeah.
He has a really tough exterior, but I mean,
Yes.
that man, he's a softie. He won't even eat the bottom part of a muffin.
He is a softie.
He's a big softie.
So the film it's about women empowerment. People like Jim. Has there been situations where Jim had to step in at the club to pull you out of a situation that got dark really fast?
I'll be honest, like that club, I think the customers are trained very well. I mean, I've never had, any real big incidents to where Jim would have to come in, and he does encourage us to, take care of ourselves and to stand up for ourselves. And, he does give us the green light to tell people, to
he's
fudge
giving me,
off. I'm kidding.
he's giving me the green light
If
to,
we
like,
need to.
if anything gets like too crazy, he was like, if someone's like harassing you, we can't get there fast enough, you go ahead and hit them. So, I mean, I've done that before. I've clocked people with my shoe. But
and he talks about that in the film too. He's like the comedic relief, I would say, like throughout the film, where he tells like little stories, because he's worked there for many years. And the way he got the job is very entertaining and sweet. And he tells that story as well. But he's perhaps like one of the biggest feminists, I think, in the film, because he's like, he talks about it, like if you girls want to defend yourselves, like more power to you,
he has actually he got a man arrested. Well, we forgot about that until now. Yeah, he got a man arrested for us one time.
I think that man got himself arrested. I think he called the cops on himself.
Is Jim going to be at the premiere doing Q&As with?
Oh yeah, we're gonna drag him up there for sure.
Yep.
Does he know that yet?
Yes, I think so. He's pretty prepared.
Yeah. He's gonna moan about it, but he'll be fine.
Yeah.
So I've got a question. Do you get to choose your dancing music?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, thank God.
Yes.
What makes a good dance song?
A very short song because I hate dancing. So. I need 2-minute song.
I'm the when I first started dancing, I picked 2-minute songs, but after I started dancing for a while, I'm like, okay, this one's 6 minutes, perfect. 6 minutes long, let's go for it. But
To me, it's all about the music. Like dancing for me, I'm always like somebody who like feels music very deeply. And for me, dancing was, among many other things, like a creative expression. I'd like to find more ways in Green Bay to have a sexy yoga or something like that, to try to find a way to channel it in, because when I think about dancing, that's kind of part that I don't want to have to give up, because I do really like dancing, and I like the music part of it. If I couldn't choose my music, it'd be a whole different experience. And I think that's one of the cool things about being a dancer, is that each person can come in and carve out their own experience. You get to pick your own outfits, your own music, your own, like aesthetic and makeup, and you have a lot of control over that expression compared to a lot of other jobs.
What is there a big investment to get into dancing? You mentioned outfits, which I didn't even think of.
oh God.
Not really. You show up with what you've got, and then you make money, and then you go shopping.
Is there a song that you're sick of hearing at the club?
Probably every song that I play.
Anything by The Weeknd. Oh God, please no more
I
Weeknd.
still like him.
I love the weekend.
Yeah.
Bad for Me. That one has been overplayed.
Porn star
Unholy.
Yeah, unholy.
Unholy.
Phil
Yes.
Collins. I'm just kidding.
Do you think the Gold Nugget would ever consider a local music night?
They should.
Actually, yeah, they should.
should.
I mean, that's
Let's get
something
Alex
that
up there
I've
with the
thought of
keys.
before, with live bands or.
Yeah.
But yeah, they definitely should.
Yeah.
We had
really
a
nice.
comment from Craig Spreeman. He said he was at the Gold Nugget years ago, and it was a great time.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thanks, Craig.
Tell him to come back and see me.
Are you anticipating that after the film's release that you might get an influx of people that make a special trip up to the Gold Nugget just to see stars from the film? And does that make you a little nervous?
I've been dancing at the Gold Nugget for a couple months now. I've been moving on to different clubs, but at these different clubs, I'll go on stage and then I'll have a group of customers be like, "Aren't you Sylvia from Gold the Documentary?" And I'm like, "You little feminist, you." "Yes, I am."
I love that.
I'm like, "Here's my butt."
I'm already a legend because I do the robot and I call myself the Hobot. So there's always just, I'm a legend up in North. So
I'm like really fascinated to see the rollout. I really hope that you get a lot more showings. I missed out. I waited too long for the Appleton showing. I really hope for more Appleton
Yeah,
premieres, I should say, of the film.
Yeah, I'm hoping so too, actually. So, I have a small community in Appleton, but not like a large community in Appleton. But I know like it's a very creative community, a very progressive community. So, yeah, I think we should probably do another Appleton showing as well.
We should do a live show.
Oh,
Gold, the musical.
we're doing one right now.
How much are you in front of the camera, Paige, during this?
Not at all.
Not at all.
No.
Is your voice in it at least?
I think like twice because I think it was for Dusty. She didn't use like context in her answers for some of them. So like maybe twice you can hear my voice, but that's it. No, I'm not. This is enough for me. I'm very much behind the camera.
So besides the interviews, did you interview everybody multiple times?
I interviewed Allison and Aubry just the one time. I did interview Sylvia twice, once at the club. And then, so for her and Gypsy, I traveled to their hometowns. And so we kind of did, like, we made a weekend out of, was that like a year ago that we did that?
Oh, yeah. I
It
just
was,
got like
fall.
a flashback from it on my phone. Yeah. It was like a year ago.
Yeah. So I just went with a camera up to her hometown and Gypsy's hometown because it's different when there's, multiple crew members and like lights and all this stuff in your face. So I really wanted more of a raw story. And we definitely achieved that, I think. So thank you for being vulnerable with me. It's very special. So
Like the one and done interview part of it is stressful, I would assume, because was there anything that you two thought about after you were interviewed once that you wished you would have said or worded differently?
At first, I did think that a lot, and then having stepped away from when I was interviewed, I was like in that world, and then afterwards, of course, having some perspective gained. I think as I go, this will be something that I will continue to kind of shape my thinking around for a long time, and still have questions myself about what it all means. But yeah.
I'm just so proud of all of you guys, honestly, just for being so vulnerable, and you guys did so good. Like,
so
you guys
proud
are
of
all
you,
like
Paige.
amazing.
Can I tell you how afraid Paige was when she first came in?
Oh my God, yeah.
You said it's like your first time in a strip club.
Yeah, and I grew up super Catholic, so I was like,
I
what?
don't want to say afraid. I guess taken back. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's
And
a whole different world.
And she was there, and I was working, and she's like, "What? These guys just aren't gonna give you money? You're walking around with your boobs out, and they're not just." I'm like, "That's not really how it works. Like, it'd be nice if that's how it worked the whole time."
Yeah, I was mad at the guys immediately.
Yeah.
So now you're comfortable going to a club now.
Yes, very comfortable, yeah. They're still trying to get me on stage, but that hasn't happened yet, and it probably won't.
Just once. Come on, Paige.
So
Just
what-
once. You don't even have to take your clothes off.
What is a misconception that you see, having not been in a strip club, and what were your conceptions of what the strip club was prior and now that you've been in the scene?
Yeah, I think, well, honestly, a lot of my misconceptions were at women, like, to be totally honest. Like, a lot of it was, like, as much as, a feminist as I
joking around.
thought I was at the time, like, it's definitely more now, like, understanding, that, like, just, I think, honestly, just getting to know the people that are up there, at their jobs. And, like, I think, I thought maybe that a lot of the girls were sad, vulnerable, like, just damaged, I guess I would say. But, we all kind of are in our own ways. And it's, I'm no different than you guys at all.
Right.
Like, and that's, I think, like, the coolest thing that I've come to realize. Like, I have to, like, we're not any different than each other at all. And so that was kind of really eye-opening for me, is like, wow, I was kind of a fool. And I'm just hoping to, like, share this story with the world so that, maybe we can change one person's perspective. And when we showed the film, we did a secret screening up in Iron Mountain. And one of the ladies afterwards, she got handed the microphone. She had a question, and she was crying still from the film, and she was like, "I didn't expect to cry when coming to see a stripper film." And it's like, yeah. But I think everything is relatable in the film. It's not about a club or stripping. It's about life experiences and being women, honestly.
Well, we're all just humans. It's just we're labeled
Right.
as strippers.
Yep.
And that's how it is in real life. Like I said, I came in to dancing at the age of 40. So that's a lot of years to develop a lot of preconceived notions, and I too was just floored, like these girls are just the salt of the earth. And I mean, I will put them even more on a pedestal than like regular, because it does. It takes a lot of courage and a lot of grit and
strength.
it is an art form, but it's also, the skills that you can acquire at a strip club can carry you at any job.
Oh my gosh,
as far as negotiations or whatever it may be.
It's so true.
I can pick up a dollar with my butt.
Yeah.
And the confidence.
Yes, the confidence. Yeah.
No, but
on
I'm
interview.
just so in awe, like physically, mentally, like the stuff that you guys endure at your job. And I've never done your job. So like, I can only say from an outsider's perspective and what I've seen and what I've learned. And like, I'm just in awe of how strong you guys are. Like, it's really, like, you've taught me a lot, honestly, about life.
Same.
What do you have to do to stay in shape to dance? It's a very physical job.
I don't.
Don't do
I started
anything.
trying to get more in shape after I quit dancing. And I think that that's maybe like one of the misconceptions that people do have, is that they think that you can only do this if you like meet these like very traditional beauty standards. And that just simply isn't the case. It is like a lot more about a mindset. And I think one thing I can say about the movie from my point of view is that the interview was with Stacey and the dancing part was with Allison.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
She just gave you her real name.
Oops, I don't care. Allison, they call me
Allison,
Allison.
yeah.
Well, you do wonder how quick your name's like, the cat will be out of the bag once this comes out, because there's probably going to be people that go into it thinking, oh, I want to see this movie, and then their reaction is going to be, wait a second, that looks like so and so, or and then
Yeah, and I
phone
do have a
calls
lot
start.
of like aspirations, like in the business world, and like as a researcher, researching things that are important to the community and business ideas that I've come up with. And so I do hope that that those options are still like open to me through this. But it's all of it. That is all kind of dialed into this like focus on the human experience, needing to get to the deeper layers of the human experience to really make the meaningful kind of like cultural change that we need to see in the world, and to really like humanize each other.
Gloria Moore said, can't wait to see it. You guys,
Gloria.
can't wait to
Gloria.
see it, and you guys in Green
We
Bay.
love you.
Hi, Gloria.
Oh, we love her.
Besides the interviews, what else are you using to convey the stories? Are you using photos that were provided to you from the past?
Yeah, that's so that was one of the things that me and my DP DJ cast. He's my boss actually, but he shot most of the film. So we kind of we talked about that a lot, and it was like you can't just have dancing B-roll for a lot of it. And I don't know. I mean, everyone likes boobs. Everyone likes
they
really
should.
artistic shots, and so a lot of it is dancing B-roll. But like when I went to visit Sylvia in her hometown, like we have a little bit more like of a story and B-roll. She's working at her job and things. So and then for Dusty, there are photos and things that we used to tell her story. And I would say like Aubry and Allison kind of they carry the film a little bit too, I would say. Like their voices are throughout, and they're kind of I would say you guys are almost like the viewer's perspective. Like you guys are kind of like bringing us all along for the ride, and then it's more of a focus on your life and Gypsy's life as like the case studies, I would say, and Dusty's story as well. So Dusty's throughout as well, just kind of providing insight and like guidance, I would say, on how she runs the club. So really the film is segmented into each girl's story. So
You said Dusty was a little hard to get on board at first. What does she think now of the film that she's seen?
Oh
it?
my gosh.
She's having a blast.
She loves it.
Yes.
yeah,
She loves it.
Loves it. So
She parties way too hard
Initially,
at the fundraisers.
Dusty was very apprehensive just because, she
understandably
it sounds
so.
yeah, it doesn't sound like it's real. Like, hey, we want to make a movie about your life and your club. And I had many mornings with Dusty, prior to the film, and I had a very close, I still do, a very close personal connection, relationship with her. So she confided in me a lot about her past. And, so just when we brought the idea to her, I almost kind of felt like, okay, listen, I know you just told me all this stuff, but we're making a movie out of it. Like, I know it's supposed to be like, like a secret or, sacred. And she was apprehensive, at first. And, and so was her daughter. She has a granddaughter as well that, goes to elementary school. So just having a light shine on them, in this aspect. She was very apprehensive. But now, I mean, she is literally just all about it, like hamming it up, like with everything. Like she loves it so much, as she should.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that she's seen it
Yeah.
too. I
Yeah.
think it was like really from her soul.
Oh my
Right.
God. I mean,
Right.
she was holding my hand so tight I thought my fingers were going to fall off.
Yeah.
When this film comes out, is it going to go to DVD after the screenings? Or are you going to try to find a streaming home for it?
I think I'm going to try to find a streaming home, honestly. I think that's something I didn't really do with Seeds of Life. I just threw it on YouTube and wanted anyone to see it for free. But I think Gold, the production value alone and the stories and, it being kind of in an up north rural area, I think appeals to a lot of people. And so I'm hoping there will be streaming opportunities, which is kind of why we're doing the film festival circuit too.
So if somebody's going to the first showings of it, is there full-on nudity in it? What can they expect?
Just topless. Yeah.
Get to see my boobs.
Yeah, the Nugget is not. It's not a full nude
Sylvia's.
bar, is it?
It's like optional.
It's
Okay,
optional.
optional,
Very
yeah.
optional, yes.
Yeah.
So as far does that make it more difficult to get a streamer to take that on? Or
I think it might be actually. I was thinking about that.
maybe like could he do a
I might
censored
just
version
have to
of it?
censor it out.
Right.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Just you gotta find the right platform.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's an HBO thing.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go.
Skinemax.
Yeah.
I know you've been in this game for 2 films now.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the DVD as a format, is that format even worth doing anymore?
That's a good question. With Seeds of Life, it was necessary. I had a lot of the people of the older generation wanting to have a copy, and I think that's maybe part of it is to have that physical copy of things, which I still think might be nice for us to all have a copy of Gold.
Them at, like the showings.
Yeah.
Too,
Yeah. It's kind of like I feel like a lot of people don't even have DVD players anymore, honestly. So, my mind went to streaming over DVDs. But we'll see. If I run into, the whole nudity thing becoming an issue, then DVDs will be the way to go. Family video it.
It'll be, in the end, it will be a benefit.
Yeah.
Do you have like the cover is the final cover? What you've been putting on the promotional photos?
The poster. Mm-hmm.
You've had a lot of help too with the photography.
Oh my gosh. Yes. So Stasia Geigel and Alex Simpson have been incredible with lending their talents. And Stasia is like, I think she's 23. So she is so young and she's got this incredible, amazing talent. Like, I feel really honored that she and Alex have been willing to work with me and, help me through this journey. And Stasia adding her like really cool flair to a lot of stuff. Like we just did this, I don't know if you saw, but we're doing like a limited edition poster series of each of the girls, like as their own, like very shutter draggy, like very cool colors. And that was like all Stasia's idea. So she was like, do you think we could do something kind of, there's a show called Euphoria on HBO. And she's like, have you seen that? I'm like, I love that show. So it's very Euphoria kind of feel to it. So we're going to have those posters for sale, limited edition collection.
Available only at the showings?
Yeah. Well, we can do more prints, though, once we get more showings.
So what's going to go on after this? Are you thinking ahead already to your 3rd film?
Yes, actually. Of course. I'm going to do, it'll be a short film, and it's going to happen pretty quickly. We have quite a homeless population crisis in Green Bay right now. And, we are Green Bay is the host of the NFL draft in April, and I have very mixed feelings about, the fact that the city is spending a lot of money on things to prepare for the draft, but not really to correct the problem of the human issue in Green Bay. So we're going to do a short film. It probably won't be feature length, but we're going to film in February, and then that'll come out right before the draft, just to kind of keep people's minds where they should be, not so much on the NFL.
Any plans to maybe revisit the cast of Gold down the road?
Oh, that would be awesome.
Follow-up?
I mean, the girls want me to do like a series, so we
We could do a TV show like The
Yeah.
Office type of thing. The camera follows around.
Yeah, that's crossed my mind for sure. Like I've wanted to do follow-ups with the people in Haiti that I know, but it's so unsafe there right now, and like there's a lot of different dynamics going on in that part of the world that has not allowed me to do follow-ups on that. But, you know, I would be open to it for sure. Maybe in 10 years. They'll all be retired by then.
And when the film comes out, are any of you going to create a Facebook page, a fan page or anything for your dancer?
I've already had my Instagram is full of it, but my Instagram's also full of my personal life too. So I mix, but it's under my stage name. Everything's under my stage name. So I mix my personal life and my film life, I guess.
Yeah.
I've mixed it. So it's
Allison and I mean, we talk about, you know, obviously content is very necessary to keep the dialogue going. And there's, of course, some things that, you know, we want to put about our own experiences. But we have a different, like, I guess you could say, like, dynamic with the film, because like she touched on, like, we do own a business, and, you know, and that does require you to kind of have to, you know, put a little lid on it, you know, but I think a lot of advocacy work will come from this as well, and it'll lead us down a different path, the path that we wanted to be on, you know, so.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. But the subject of my personal brand is like the biggest thing that I'm struggling with right now, and trying to be out there in a way that's like authentic, but then like, you know, like doesn't go too far. And so I have an idea of that. I actually have an OnlyFans account that I've started, and I wanted to just like tell my story on there to other women, put it behind a paywall so that it was like protected from my kids' friends and things like that, and be really raw and real about it, but not for the purposes of it being like pornographic or like a typical OnlyFans account, but being, I do actually feel that there are things, I think we would both say that there are things that we got this experience before, or from this experience, that we know that women would spend a lot of money to come, like, have achieve, you know, just in the way of like confidence with ourselves and bodies, the ways that we kind of like handle men. It's true though, you know, you get to you know, you do get to see a role from a little bit different angle, and it changes things. I won't get into it now. You'll have to subscribe to my OnlyFans. Have your wife do it.
Where can people go to find out more about the film?
We should have a website, so we're working on that. But we do have a Facebook page, Gold the Documentary. We have an Instagram account, Gold the Documentary. And then, yeah, I don't know, like our personal pages, we kind of share everything on there too. So,
Well, I'm very excited to see this film, and I'm really thankful that all of you came in here today and sharing your story. And it really adds, like, to me, it gets me excited to see the actual film. I can't wait to see what you work on next, Paige.
thank you. Thanks for providing the space for us to talk about it. And
And I have to ask, what are some of your favorite local bands? I want to put you on the spot, but I do just want to mention that,
yeah.
or ask you that question.
You want to start?
But I like the Sons of Kong. I just really think they're like amazing live, and they have a great energy. I work a lot, so I don't get to go out and see too much, you know, live music. But like that's definitely one of my favorites, and of course Holly and the Nice Lions, and
Yeah, I love supporting all the female bands, all the ones that Paige had come, Elmer Glueskin.
Yeah.
I love, you know, I've known Ava for a long time.
So
It's been great
talented.
to see her,
Yeah.
you know, like blossoming like that. And I love Dusk. That's been a band that I really, I love. I've actually danced to a couple of their songs before. There's one club where you could play your songs off of your phone.
Oh, that's
so you
awesome.
can play anything that you want. So, yeah, and not also if I could just mention one artist too, is not local though, but there was a female artist that was almost kind of responsible a little bit for like the awakening that I had, like that led to all this. Was an artist named Lydia Lovelace. She played one of my weddings. But she was an artist artist that I feel like has not only a great sound, but she expressed like female sexuality in a way that I hadn't heard before. She has a song called Head, and there's like lyrics in it like, get down on your knees. And I really thought to myself for so long, she has to be saying that, but that's what the man's saying. That's got to be the man's point of view saying that to her. And then when I realized, no, it's not. That's her saying that, and that's kind of just the vibe of a lot of her songs. It really did have an impact on just the way that I felt like I had maybe held back a lot of my own sexual energy, which I believe isn't just about sex. It's like related to your creativity and your life force, and that's something's important. So check out Lydia Lovelace if you're looking to get back in your bye, ladies.
Well, we went to Mile of Music together.
I was about to say, that one with that cute guy that sang, the tall, skinny one.
Oh, God.
I don't remember. The starts with a B.
I was drinking a lot that day. Oh, Bella's Bar Talk.
There we
They're
go.
not local, but
They're
they
not.
come around a lot.
Yes.
They were fun.
They
Yeah.
were a lot of fun. I would say that's probably my favorite at the moment.
Yeah.
They have a lot of fun sounds.
Yes.
I like all the fun sounds that's going on in there.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And I like Rodeo Borealis because they're a new band, but they're in Green Bay.
Maddie Day, right?
Yes. Anything Maddie Day. I mean, I loved the Muddy Udders. I loved, actually, what was the one that Bobby Kispert was in that he just retired? Gung Hos? Yeah, the Gung Hos. Yeah. Oh, Maddie was in that one too, but.
I love it how the music scene and the film scene, we've got, Gold, we've got Green Bay Blah. It's a pretty cool community we live in. So again, I want to thank you for all coming here, and
Thank you.
Thank you.
congratulations on the film.
Thank
you
you.
so much.
We're excited.